2 by my watch on this April 14th, 2020. And I call the Blanco County Commissioners Court to order. Ask Ms. Wallet to call the roll.
Judge Brady.
Here.
Commissioner Weir.
Here.
Commissioner Eager.
Here.
Commissioner Leisman.
Here.
And Commissioner Grable.
Here. If you'll join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, we have one signed application for public comment this morning from Mr. Kenneth Welch. I believe he submitted his written comments to you that he plans to read today online. And in going over them, I want to make a couple of observations to you for your consideration. In the court policy, we state that we don't want to have repetitious or cumulative presentations. Mr. Welch says that he has spoken many times regarding the condition of low water crossings and such. So I believe that his presentation would be repetitious and could be rejected this morning for that reason. But in addition, Mr. Welch goes on to say in a number of places in his comments things that are that I think violate the court's rules concerning decorum. Specifically, I think that they are insulting to the honesty and integrity of the court. If he were in the room, he could be ordered to leave under this situation, and it would be appropriate, in my view, for the court to sanction him and not allow him to speak. I refer specifically to an instance where he essentially accuses the court of participating in a criminal act, and not only a criminal act, but one of moral turpitude, which is highly insulting and disparaging of the court. Furthermore, he accuses the court of incompetence at best and dereliction of duty at worst, which is again insulting to the court. So with that presentation laid out for you, I ask for your thoughts on whether or not to allow Mr. Welch to make his presentation this morning. I would go one step further and tell you that if you elect not to allow him to speak this morning, then his written comments should probably be held in abeyance before filing with Ms. Walla while we consult with legal counsel. I have spoken with the county legal counsel this morning, and we may want to engage other legal counsel to determine if we have any kind of cause of action for these disparaging remarks. Thoughts?
Judge, I read the email, and I read it several times so I could try to understand where he was coming from. And he's constantly berating the county and other officials around the county. And I feel that we ought to keep it from record until we consult with outside counsel and see where we stand.
Can we? Would you be willing to call that a formal motion?
Yes, I would like to make that into a motion.
Basically prohibiting Mr. Welch's comments this morning. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Eager, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving to item 4, is the minutes from the previous meeting are up for your review and consideration.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion dispensing with the reading of the minutes and accept them as presented with one change.
There was one change.
There was
I
one
believe
change.
I had regular meeting title, it should have been special, and resubmitted this to y'all for approval.
All right. So I'd like to make that motion.
Can you restate it again? I'm not sure if we caught that.
I would like to dispense with the reading of the minutes and accept them as written with changes. And the changes were one letter, one word,
Yes.
One word from regular to special, I think.
from regular to special.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Eaker, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The estimated payroll is item 5.
I'll make a motion to approve the estimated payroll for April 2020 in the amount of $308,608.89. $308,608.89.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Cranberg, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next are the official reports for the month. I believe they are all in and available for your inspection and or approval.
I move we approve the official reports as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Leisman, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The line item transfers are item 7. I don't remember there being any. There are not any, which will take us to item 8.
I'll make a motion to approve the outstanding bills in the amount of $276,491.16.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Eaker, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9 involves our contract with Southern Health Partners for our medical services provided at the jail. And I think you all have maybe received the communications. Essentially, Southern Health Partners wants to renew the relationship that expires this June by contract, and either increase our payment under the contract to $66,789.72 a year, or which would include, as it does today, full pharmaceutical coverage, or we could pay a lesser amount of $63,009.12, but have our pharmaceuticals capped at $3,300. My information is that last year, 2019, I believe, the pharmaceutical part of it was of operations was about $8,800 and change, and that is not uncommon. And really, one inmate can cause extreme charges if the wrong SPAC situation were to occur. So, and I will just say that for me, it seems that it's pretty good insurance to go ahead and go with the increase to $66,789, but I open it up for your thoughts and discussion. And if you need more time to digest it, the contract does not expire until the first part of June. So we potentially can take it up again if necessary. If you want to take it up today, of course, if we make this change today, we'll want to budget for it for the next fiscal year, but it shouldn't be a problem with entering into the contract in June.
Will there be any advantage of using indigent funds for inmates? No? Okay. So, I'd be willing to make a motion to allow the judge to sign the contract and negotiate the contract with Southern Health Partners Service Agreement, price increase as well, effective June 1st, 2020 through May 31st, 2021, with the option B of the increase.
Is taking that as your motion, is there a second?
I will second that.
Commissioner Weir, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I think you have in your packets the county road repair grant letter from Mr. Well, actually, I guess from all three, Mr. Allison, Bass, and McGee, concerning the county infrastructure, county transportation infrastructure grant that's being administered by TxDOT. In looking at our part, it's pretty small compared to a lot larger counties or counties that are in the oil field. But the total that would be available to the county if we applied for it is about $87,000. And Allison Bass is offering to shepherd that application through the grant process for 5%. 5% charge, which would be roughly $42 or $300. Of course, $87,000 doesn't get very far. It doesn't pay very much or do very much, but it can do something. And so I don't really administer a precinct's roads, so I really defer to the four of you as to how you want to handle this. I have spoken with Mr. Megna, who helps us out so much with grants, all kinds of grants at the county level, and he's in the room, so if you have questions of him, please feel free to ask whether or not we can say we could or should save the $40-something hundred and try to do it ourselves, or whether we should enter into this agreement and have Allison Bass help us. Two more things and I'll stop. One, the timeline is very short. We have to have it all done before May the 27th. And the workload is on you all because it will require each commissioner to do the 5 or 6 things, the 3 or 4 things listed on the second page, like having an updated annual road report, identify your projects or project, considering it's not that much money, and identify the funding, and you'll have to have the specs done for the project in time, in with the application, it appears. Now, the Allison Bass firm, I'm sure could help you to figure out your timeline and what all is needed if we chose to use them. Mr. Megna might be able to also, but that's where we are. It's a question of, do we go with the outside firm or not? Or do we even apply or not? Really, there's, I guess, 2 questions. Or do we pass this one?
Mr. Magna, is there, do you see, we have, 6 weeks to process this? Do you see us, or do you have an opening on your plate full to process this in 6 weeks if we can get you the information?
It's a pretty tight time frame, and personally, I would think the advantage going with Allison Bass is they're doing a lot of these and can probably
if we all combined into one project, if the county picked one project for this fund or whatever, is that a fund that would, is that a project that would have to get a third-party contractor to have a complete bid in place in 6 weeks?
I'm sorry
Time.
to ask you, but would you mind maybe, so we can capture your answers on the recording? And number two, going back to the Commissioner's first question about your plate, I just want to take notice. I think everyone in here knows, but so anybody listening knows, that you and Commissioner Leisman have been pretty tied up on a daily basis, all day, every day, with the COVID-19 crisis, and now on top of that, this past weekend with a significant tornado incident in northern Blanco County. So I think that's what he meant when he was referencing your plate being full.
I was.
Yeah, both of those are going to occupy a lot of time.
I see.
The way I read the description from both the law firm and the state, is we have to have a complete project ready to submit, and in roughly 6 weeks, that's going to be problematic.
So it would be a contract that would require a third-party contractor to have drawings, everything ready to propose at that point in time.
And if we do a single project over $50,000, you have to go out for competitive bids. Remember that piece of it as well. So, because we had talked yesterday about possibly a project per precinct, which would obviously be under that cap. But if you get a single project and use the bulk of the money in one place, then you have the competitive bid process. At that time, as well.
So could we take this thing and separate it into 4, or and actually use the grant money to do the repairs ourselves? Then what sort of data would you need from us on that? Or just a proposed project and what it would cost material-wise and labor-wise, and that's coming from us? Okay.
What's your opinion about whether we should or should not avail ourselves of the Allison Bass offer?
I think a 5% fee on the $87,000 is probably a pretty good deal for the county.
I agree to that.
I agree. I agree with that.
I agree with that. Now, the only thing that you brought up that perked my interest was yesterday we did discuss, each individual precinct doing a specific project, which was favorable for me at that point in time. But now you brought up the thoughts of the specs, and if we have to have these engineered and drawn, then that'd be a lot of different money going to a lot of different projects that it's not a very big project. So it might be beneficial to focus all this effort into one project as opposed to splitting it amongst the 4 of us.
I think that's probably the better approach. And remember, we're also working on that other grant for road repairs, and that's going to be a huge investment of time over the summer as well.
And this has to be a turnkey project, right? It has to be start to finish.
Right.
In other words, it can't help a project in process or buy materials.
Correct. You couldn't expend money that might be awarded by a grant before the day of the grant award.
And if you could walk me through it for the benefit of anybody viewing, it's an $87,000 and some $100 grant. It requires a 25% match. Is that right?
That's correct, but the way I read everything that they sent us, county budgeted expenditures and road work could count as a match.
Okay. Where I'm trying to go is to find out of that 87,000, do we only get 75% of it, or do we get the whole 87,000 and then we turn around and pay Allison Bass out of that? Or what does the 87, what does the county get out of that 87,000?
Again, the way I reread it, and we have to double check it, but it would be, the payment to Allison Bass would come out of 87, so we would net 82.5 or so. And then our $17,000 match would come out of work that is being done was in budgeted funds during the fiscal year. But I want to verify that.
Okay.
And you're saying it's already budgeted in this year, as far as our 25% if it came out of regular materials, road and bridge?
Right.
We could take it out of this year's budget to
That's
match.
the way I reread all the information yesterday.
Would a seal coat project count? I mean, that would be quick and easy. We could hire our contractor, the specs are minimal. That could be done in a matter of days.
Sounds like a qualified road project. There are no specific guidelines on what is or is not.
We all got plenty of places we could use 10 times that much to catch up on the seal coat.
Well, in that respect, Commissioner Gramber, you could split that 4 ways if you wanted to. You could, if you're buying materials with it or getting a bid on double seal coat or whatever it might be, that would be something we could probably do within the 6 weeks. If you're trying to do a bridge project or even a crossing or something, I don't know if realistically if you could pull it off in that amount of time.
Well, I mean, we get busy now, start now, we could have, it's not a problem finding a place that needs material or needs seal coating.
Yeah.
Get busy, get it prepped, and hire the contractor, have him come through and just do it countywide, every location.
If you did that, then that would be over the $50,000 mark, and so it'd have to go out to bid.
Well,
That's not a
we do
problem.
that
Not a
anyway,
problem.
so that's not a problem.
And I would not have a problem with it, putting it towards one particular part of the county. It wouldn't bother me a bit if we just picked a good spot in the county and made it work for the whole county, versus trying to split it up and get these little small bids in.
Yeah, to make it more efficient, just go ahead and concentrate one area.
Because if you end up with $20,000 a piece or something like that, it doesn't, what does it do, a half a mile, maybe, or whatever with a double seal coat? Probably not, because you're going to have to prep it and everything prior. But if you're going to go and reseal somewhere in the county, you can go somewhere with it.
I mean, there's not enough to build a low water crossing improvement project, but it could go towards a seal coat.
Or a reseal, yeah, you bet. If that's applicable, we can.
Well, and again, the law firm may already have experience that they can tell us right away whether that's a reasonable approach.
How do you think the firm would work with the commissioners to figure out what part of the county, if they were doing seal coat, or even if they were doing some other kind of project, where it would go? Because there's not enough money really to spread around. Is that something we should discuss today and see if there's consensus, or is that something we should leave?
I think as long as you're sitting as a official meeting, you can talk about an area that the 4 commissioners agree on and go from there, or come up with a couple of possibilities.
Would y'all be willing to do one area?
Sure.
Or two, one or two?
I think we just combine forces and pick a spot that needs it. Make use of this opportunity.
Now, can the 4 of you identify 1 or 2 spots, not necessarily in your precinct, that you think need it the worst?
I know one that has been recently prepped. It's a short run. It's a short run, but I don't know if it's prepped to the point to where it can be, I know it can be within this length of time. But I know that Commissioner Eaker has one that he's been working on that they've come a long ways on it. I don't know whether if you're ready it's quite ready to do a seal coat on it, but.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's,
that one should be ready, rather.
Yeah, you could,
It's right at a mile.
you can make that ready very quick, I believe, and get that one done, including putting the cattle guard in and whatever, concrete or whatever might need for that. But I think you could do all of that right there and have change left over, I'm guessing. I'd be okay to take my part and throw it that direction. Or anywhere else
I
combined.
think the most efficient, fastest way to do it, just do one main project.
Mike, did you read that this, Allison's fee is no matter if you get the grant or don't? It's not based on if you get the grant or not.
It didn't say that,
So we're on the hook for almost 5,000.
could be, but, you know, if they're unsuccessful in presentation, but let me back up. It sounds like the grant is already allocated. The way I read it was we've been deemed eligible, we're on the list of counties that are going to receive money out of $250 million. If they went forward with a presentation and failed on presentation, it would be very unusual because it sounds like the money is already there. And so long as we're bringing them a legitimate road project, and if you're trying to use the money for something other than roads, then they'd reject the application. But that's not what we're talking about, so I don't think it would be.
Okay. And there's nothing,
What would happen?
I know this grant is something to do with the oil and gas industry. But there's nothing in here that states it has to be traffic going to an oil and gas facility or a line or something of that nature?
No, in fact, this is backing off of the previous offerings that were specific for oil and gas impact. They realized that that has changed, and so now they want to move this money to places where it's not necessarily such an impact from oil and gas vehicles, that sort of thing.
Okay.
In answer to your previous question, in rereading the language, I believe that Allison Bass, are committing to only getting paid if the grant is funded.
That's good.
Well, what about feasibility if we do one county-wide project at one location, doing the application in-house? Because it would be, to me, pretty simple. If it's just a seal coat project, I mean, we do that every year when we go out to bids.
But the terminology I agree with you on that part of it, but the terminology to get into the states and get awarded the allotment is the main goal. And if Allison Bass has, like Mike says, a boilerplate that they're submitting all these other counties with, we have a better chance of getting it like that.
I mean, no offense to you, but their batting average might be better when it comes to
Absolutely.
using them to get this shit.
I don't think Mike really work minds if we do it with the Allison Bass.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Okay. Now, because of whatever the cost might be to do, let's pick Odeon Road for one. You get that, and it comes in the 40,000. I'm guessing all of this. You have money left over. Should you look for two projects?
You should look for a secondary
A
project.
secondary project to take the remainder of the bid.
Or one big one and just cover it all in one.
Yeah. But I'm looking at shovel-ready projects too. And I know of one that's pretty close. But it doesn't matter to me. It's just the other one.
If we can get funded for just a seal coat project, I got one right now.
But if you take one that you're looking to try to get the ditch lines cut and get it all subgrade done up to par, then $80,000 is not going very far. You're not going to go very far anywhere with it. Or if you have a shovel-ready project, you can finish that one and have money to extend another coat on something that's already seal coated or something. So we could get up almost to the dollar that way.
Plus, what you have budgeted for your budgeted payment, you can add that to it to complete it.
You could, yeah, within our budget, you sure could extend it.
If you stick with one project.
Yes.
And then maybe when it comes time to budgeting, you say, well, you got the grant money, let's cut you back over here, kind of redistribute it at budget time. So that it's.
Because if you look at it, it's two $40,000 projects. and you had your regular budget to feed into that, you could do 2 projects pretty nice with it.
The length of that road's over 2 miles, right?
I don't know, you know better?
I was thinking it was a mile.
It's 1 mile?
1 mile.
It's 1 mile. Double seal coated, you're looking at about $50,000. And that's, I mean, that's ballpark. Because the guy that comes in there that's gonna have the warranty on that is gonna wanna prep that road to his liking before he seal coats it. Which means they'll go in and probably, maybe even cut it some more, water it and roll it to a certain point and then do it. So there might be some subgrade work that still needs to be done so that he can handle the warranty.
Yeah. I'd focus on that project.
Would you?
Yeah.
I would be willing to do that with my share of it or whatever.
And plan B, I got a place we could do it all in one, it's ready, we could start.
Okay. Or anything left over?
Plan C, I got another spot too.
But, I mean, if let's say it does cost 50 grand and there's 30 grand left there, that would help you a lot, wouldn't it? I mean, on what you're doing.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah,
You can always
sure.
have a place to do
I
it.
sure would hate to let go of this with the opportunity to
No,
have
you
it.
don't want to turn it back.
But I do think because of time, you better look at something that's pretty close to getting ready to be done now. Because they all have schedules too. They're going into their paving season right now.
And he's already spent a lot of money getting it to this spot, so
Yeah.
instead of letting it go away, you know, let's maintain it and go ahead and put a coat on it right now, and it's good to go.
Your paving contractors hit the ground running this month, I think. They start this month, run all summer. So we're right there in their busiest part of it. So trying to get that all ironed out, if I can help you in any way, I would.
Okay.
Or what about your trailer east, what if you concentrated on that? That would be another.
It's not shovel ready. I'm off. I've still got some other things to do. His is, you might have a police, you might have a place that, I don't have one right now, that I can just put that on. I would love to do that, yes.
Well, the one you're referring to as the primary, I guess, is my information right that that subdivision that's been built on that road you're talking about is pretty much sold out already?
Oh, that I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Not,
No.
on the,
I think I'm wrong.
on the right side, I think all but one of those lots that joins Odeon Road has been sold. And, Southwick has, I imagine, 3 lots sold out of 9.
Point is it's gonna be a well-traveled road someday.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've been aware of that, knowing that it's coming. It's coming there.
That was the reason for getting things ready, thanks to Chris helping me out.
So I think I'm needing a motion to authorize me to enter into the agreement with Allison Bass. I think that's what I got out of your discussion.
I'd like to make a motion authorizing the county judge to enter into an agreement with Allison and Bass to work towards getting the, road improvement grant or whatever they call it, county road repair grant.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Leesman, discussion. A couple of things. One, I've been shortcutting it. It is Allison Bass and McGee, and I certainly wouldn't want to diminish Mr. Eric McGee's part in that because he has represented us in other matters and is just an outstanding attorney. Secondly, on the compensation, back to Commissioner Leesman's comments, the letter is clear that they don't get paid until the grant application is approved. The contract they want me to sign is a little bit, I think it still says that, but there's some language in there that you could maybe read either way, so I don't want to mislead you. I still think it says that the application has to be approved by TxDOT before they're entitled to their money. And if the application's approved, then we're going to get our money. So that's the way I read it. I just wanted you to be clear on that. Anything else, any other discussion? So, once we do this and enter into this agreement, then the Allison Bass folks will deal with you all probably individually to try to figure out which project you're talking about and how to go forward with it on an application basis. And maybe even, who knows, maybe Mr. Megna will be involved somehow.
Be happy to help.
All right.
Can we be getting some costs in order?
You should be.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Tight timeline. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Keach Byram Index has us in the very lowest category, and none of our neighbors are in a burn ban, so absent a motion, I'm gonna go past the burn ban. And before we reach item 12, I would like to mention, I didn't mention up front, a couple of things of community interest. One is we were not able to really very adequately publicize it before because of the disaster declarations and all that's been going on of late. The northeast corner of the courthouse grounds does have the big purple ribbon, and we have previously declared it Child Abuse Prevention Month here in Blanco County, and normally the courthouse grounds would be decorated with a lot of ribbons and little windmills and things, and this year everything is subdued because of the virus. So I just want to point out that the Commissioners Court has previously recognized it and continues to recognize on our courthouse grounds that it is in honor of that month. And secondly, the tornado incident that occurred on Sunday, we have just outstanding first responders and people in our emergency management office that are at the ready and are never fail to provide services for people in the community in distress. And then lastly, as to the virus and the stay-at-home order, I know that it is very uncomfortable for folks. It's inconvenient, to say the least, and oppressive, to say the most. And I can assure everyone that the moment that I can get sound medical advice that we should come out of the stay-at-home order, we will do so. And beyond that, the moment that we can work with any group to try to begin opening up, we will do that as well. Anyone have anything they want to add? All right.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
We're gonna go to the,
Oh,
I'm sorry, thank you for the emergency post.
I withdraw that motion.
Thank you. We jumped a little bit too fast. There was an emergency posting for another item, and it is to authorize extension of the disaster declaration that I issued Sunday morning. And it is before you today to continue if you so choose.
I make a motion to authorize the county judge to sign the proclamation extending April 12, 2020 disaster declaration.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Easter seems to be first. Discussion. I would point out that this was an emergency posting, but it more than complies with the requirements under the act, as we actually posted it Sunday morning, I believe. So, anyway, is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And that takes us back to item 12 on the regular agenda.
Then I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Weir, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.